perché sono già le 12:05, quindi
sì,
almeno
vai, Franco,
poi ecco sì. Buongiorno a tutti, good morning et bonjour. Je vais vous faire seulement un salut de bienvenue à tous et particulièrement aux amis tunisiens présents ici et à tous ceux qui je vois participer à ces webinaires. Ce webinaire poursuit le dialogue bilatéral entre les communautés financières tunisiennes et italiennes qui a débuté en juin 2017 et a abouti au protocole d'accord signé par la fédération représentant la sécurité financière dans les deux pays. Il fait partie de l'initiative pour un dialogue euro-méditerranéen sur les services financiers dans lequel la FeBAF est engagée. Je suis très content de voir ce nombre de participants et je passe naturellement la parole à Monsieur Francesco Gaggi qui va faire le chair de ce webinaire. À tout, Pierfrancesco.
Thank you, Franco. Unfortunately, I have to switch to English because my French is very poor. I hope English is a bit better. And so, first of all, thank you to FeBAF for organizing this meeting. Very appreciated, and thank you to all the participants, and namely, specifically to the speakers that will follow in this couple of hours, less than a couple of hours, 1 hour and 15 minutes. So we have envisaged this length of our webinar. And namely, I would like to thank Mr. Ahmed El Karm, who is chairman of the board of the Amin Bank, who will, to some extent, represent the Tunisian banking sector. And I will also be pleased to introduce Mr. Habib Ben Hassine, president of the Tunisian Federation of Insurance Companies and CEO of Maghrebia Insurance. On the Italian, please. Thank you and welcome. Good morning. And then on the Italian side, I wish also to thank my fellow colleagues, Roberto Signorini, Head of International Affairs at the Italian Association of Insurance Companies, Simone Ambrosin, Head of the Representative Office of Iccrea BancaImpresa in Tunis, and last but not least at all, Mrs. Fabiana de Luca, who is the first commercial secretary, head of the economic department at the Italian embassy in Tunis. Finally, we will close our meeting with some closing remarks by Paolo Garonna, Secretary General of the Federation, who is hosting this meeting. So really, again, warm thanks from my side for participating, for taking the floor in this webinar. And let me also give you some hints that could be taken then and developed in your interventions in the following of this meeting. I will speak more than as a representative of the Italian banking sector. I would like to enlarge a bit the scope of my remarks to the extent of the European banking sector, and how we see the development of the financial sector, and also, let me say, the commitment of the financial sector to help to overcome the present COVID crisis. The current economic situation prompted by the COVID-19 pandemic put banks' critical role in the society really in the spotlight. Their support in providing liquidity to businesses is experiences is experiencing a cash flow difficulties, keeping also business operating, because of course businesses need liquidity to continue their ordinary activity, but keeping employees working, assuring the continuity of the essential supplies and for the benefit of the wider economy. So while the COVID-19 crisis is unfortunately ongoing, as we are experiencing these days with the second wave of the pandemic crisis, public health is the primary focus, of course, but at the same time, as governments, businesses and households start to look beyond the crisis and businesses' strategies adapt to survive and to recover in a very much changed world beyond the crisis, it's important also to assess what kind of financing Europe's companies will need for recovery and how banks can best meet these needs. Sorry for this alarm, but unfortunately I'm in a building in the center of Rome where frequently first aid and police cars pass through. So Europe needs a sustainable, fair and inclusive recovery. Key components of such a recovery, in our opinion, should be accelerating the twin revolution of digitalization of the European Union's industry and the transition towards a sustainable economy as a propeller of the recovery, ensuring smaller companies access to funding, avoiding disruptions in export finance, and diversifying the sources of corporate funding and innovation. So 4 pillars of activity, and I will go through these 4 pillars very rapidly. Both digitalization and sustainability could be regarded as a lever to support companies to recover from the crisis, leading to a more sustainable and resilient economy. And will continue to play a central role. A massive recovery and reconstruction package for investment to support the economy of Europe, our continent, after the crisis have already started to finance the transition to a thriving society. It's important to address and remove the constraints that the financial sector is facing when financing innovation and digitalization efforts. To assist banks in their efforts aimed at supporting, digitalizing, and innovative firms, public support is also essential. So the COVID-19 crisis has brought extra pressure on companies to innovate and digitalize, to ensure readiness for a digital future, business continuity in extreme circumstances, but also to explore efficiencies due to the digital technology and innovative business models. Innovation in biotech, digital, environmental sectors is expected to scale up, and banks will have to be ready to respond and provide innovative financing to these companies using innovative products, financial products like securitization, data and innovative technologies, cloud, intelligence, artificial intelligence, machine learning, cooperating with alternative financing methods such as fintechs and crowdfunding platforms to better reach their small medium enterprises clients, cooperating with public financial institutions to ensure that efficient support, risk-sharing schemes and guarantees are available to ensure financing. So the 4 following elements are relevant from risk management perspective. The high risk and the lack of understanding of the financing process of these entities that can lead to an inadequate recognition in terms of capital consumptions for banks. So there are some issues that must be solved in order to facilitate the flow of financial support to innovative companies. So from a risk profile, it's important that we as banks are put in the conditions to overcome some constraints. For instance, also a little credit history, especially for companies that are established recently, 5 years ago, when you have a short story of the company, the absence of existence of limited suitable underlying collateral, the complexity of innovative business models. So there are some points that must be put still in clarity, that must be still digged into in order to find solution. But all in all, we believe that as banking sector, we have a great potential in order to consider ourselves as a part of the solution and not like was intended in the previous crisis as one of the causes of the reason of the crisis. Then we have also to ensure good access, direct access of smaller companies to funding. So measures being developed to support small and medium enterprises have been some of the most critical in order to ensure business continuity and liquidity for EU corporates. Public measures and actions by the different national banking associations have been critical in order to ensure that bank support to the economy works properly and the companies in need of funding can access parallel channels. In this sense, moratoria have been the most successful instrument, and they are extended. Public support programs through public banks have also been reviewed and pushed forward. Then it's important to avoid disruptions in export finance because, of course, in these times of more difficult international trade, also the financing of these activities, trade and finance, export finance, are put into risk, and we have to avoid that a disruption in the financial support of these international activities becomes the reason for disruption in the economy. And last but not least, of course, we have to help corporates, especially small medium enterprises, to differentiate, diversify the sources of corporate funding and finding innovative flows of fundings, also leaving partly their recourse to the banking financing and having more direct access to debt capital markets, and also starting to use more innovative, now no more innovative, but let's say for the small, medium enterprises dimension could be innovative, like securitization programs. Finally, also looking at the potential issuance of equity in markets that are at present very liquid and also very much available to accept equity from corporates. So all in all, we think that the financial landscape is available and pretty, let me say, promising in terms of availability of instruments for corporates. Of course, we have to work together in Europe, and as Europe and Italy with other countries, namely, we are here to listen what are the potential interests from Tunisian enterprises and Tunisian financial sector in order to find the best solutions of interaction between our financial sectors and our economy help the Tunisian enterprises, but also in the interest of the Italian enterprises to overcome the present crisis. So this is the reason why we organized this seminar with our friends from FeBAF, and I'll be really honored and happy to listen to the remarks by Mr. Ahmed El Karm as chairman of the board of Amen Bank. Mr. The board.
Alors, bonjour, Mr. El Karm. Est-ce qu'il y a quelques problèmes avec Mr. El Karm? Nous avons parlé 10 minutes. No, allora, Piero, non so se vogliamo...
Vous m'entendez ou non maintenant?
Ah oui, oui.
Ah,
ah,
très
oui,
bien.
Oui, très bien. Maintenant,
Ah,
très bien.
Excellent, très bien.
Excellent.
Alors, je disais que je vous remercie énormément pour l'invitation que vous m'aviez faite. Je suis heureux de constater que la convention qu'on a signée ensemble est encore une convention très dynamique et qui produit effectivement des actions aussi intéressantes que celles d'aujourd'hui. Permettez-moi de vous exposer la situation du système bancaire tunisien face au Covid. Les banques tunisiennes ont été affectées, comme toute la planète, par les conséquences du Covid. Et elles ont vu leurs revenus baisser sensiblement. Vous savez que la croissance économique en Tunisie serait de moins 7% en 2020. Ce sont des opérations au moins pour les banques tunisiennes et ça va affecter le revenu d'intérêt principalement. Également, le mouvement, n'est-ce pas, d'affaires a reçu un choc parce que la Tunisie a été un confinement généralisé durant le mois de mars et avril. Donc, les commissions sur les différentes activités bancaires n'ont pas évolué comme souhaité. Et également, les banques ont décidé, pour contribuer à la lutte contre le Covid et essayer un peu de pousser, n'est-ce pas, à la distance sociale, de ne pas prélever les commissions sur les opérations monétiques pour que les citoyens et les clients utilisent les cartes de paiement et les portables pour faire leurs achats et éviter le contact entre eux. Troisièmement, le commerce extérieur, le paiement également ont diminué sensiblement. Le commerce a baissé de 20% durant les 6 premiers mois de 2020. Le tourisme a baissé de 60% durant la même période. Donc, il n'y a pas eu de recettes sur les opérations de change. Tous ces facteurs font qu'on s'attendait normalement à une très forte baisse de produits nets bancaires. Mais je pense qu'il y a deux ou trois facteurs qui feront que cette baisse ne sera pas aussi importante que prévu initialement. Moi, j'attends à ce que le produit net bancaire tunisien serait au même niveau que l'année 2019. Parce que tout d'abord, l'effet positif des crédits de soutien. Très rapidement, le gouvernement tunisien a discuté d'un programme de soutien des entreprises pour pouvoir les aider à reconstituer leur trésorerie dans une conjoncture où effectivement les affaires ne marchent pas comme d'habitude. Des crédits de soutien sont maintenant donnés à toutes les entreprises tunisiennes, quel que soit leur secteur d'activité, quel que soit leur pays d'origine, qui représente 25% du chiffre d'affaires de l'année 2019. Et c'est un crédit qui est octroyé de manière automatique par les banques et qui est également refinancé à la Banque centrale de Tunisie. Donc la Banque centrale assure la liquidité pour que les banques viennent à l'appui de leur clientèle entreprise et leur permettent de survivre devant le Covid. Mais on s'est dit aux autorités monétaires que nous sommes disposés, nos banques, à apporter tout le soutien qu'il faut et nous l'avons fait. Mais il est dangereux de voir les risques de l'économie tunisienne se déplacer de l'entreprise vers les banques. Nous avons demandé un système de garantie spécifique pour du soutien. Ça a été donné par l'État tunisien qui a accepté de voir un mécanisme de garantie qui est ouvert, n'est-ce pas, à toutes les banques, à toutes les activités, pour prendre en charge jusqu'à 90% des crédits de soutien octroyés par les banques. Donc, ces traitements, n'est-ce pas, de conscience de la crise a été très rapide, très positif et a vu l'embarquement de toutes les banques dans cette dynamique de soutien. Il y a également le fait que l'État tunisien a été amené à décaisser de montants très importants pour venir soutenir les entreprises et les employés qui ont perdu leurs emplois suite au Covid. Soutenir également les couches les plus défavorisées. Et les décaissements ont atteint plusieurs milliards de dinars. Il en a résulté que le déficit budgétaire acquise maintenant un taux de 14% par rapport au PIB. Ce déficit énorme sera financé, certes, par l'international, le recours au marché international, mais là, ce n'est pas possible parce que les conditions de risque tunisiens sont assez élevées. Donc, il y a recours au marché domestique. Les banques sont mobilisées également avec la Banque centrale pour apporter un soutien à l'État. Donc, devant cette augmentation de l'encours des crédits, les revenus, n'est-ce pas, ont été augmentés et on a vu une compensation des effets des baisses que j'avais indiquées initialement. Donc, nous attendons d'ici est-ce que le PIB bancaire soit au même niveau que celui de 2019. Quid maintenant des bénéfices, les bénéfices des banques? Il faut dire tout d'abord que la Banque centrale a autorisé à ce que les crédits bancaires ne se remboursent pas durant la période entre le mois de mars et le mois de septembre 2020. Donc, les entreprises ont été dispensées de remboursement des échéances de crédit en principal et intérêt, et les montants non remboursés ont été réchelonnés sur 7 ans. Cette faveur va jusqu'à septembre 21 pour le secteur touristique, parce qu'elle a été plus fragilisée que les autres activités économiques. Donc, c'est une mesure intéressante parce que la Banque centrale avait considéré que le non-remboursement des crédits n'implique pas classement de ce crédit. C'est-à-dire le fait de le mobiliser sur 7 ans équivaut à un remboursement. Donc, on n'a pas à constituer de provision pour ce réchelonnement. On n'a pas également à réserver des intérêts pour ce réchelonnement qui sont comptabilisés dans les revenus de la banque. C'est un élément positif, mais n'empêche que les banques tunisiennes encourent maintenant un risque assez élevé, compte tenu de l'activité difficile, compte tenu un peu de la situation économique complexe. Et la Banque centrale a ordonné de stress tests chez toutes les banques tunisiennes pour voir quels sont les suppléments de fonds propres et de provisions qu'il faut constituer pour ne pas fragiliser les banques. Ces stress tests vont se traduire inévitablement par des provisions collectives supplémentaires qui viendront effectivement faire des ponctions sur les bénéfices. Ajoutez à cela le fait que les charges opératoires vont augmenter par le fait qu'il y a des dépenses qui ont été faites par les banques pour protéger les employés, protéger également les clients des effets de Covid, des dépenses de différentes natures, qui sont principalement dans les mesures barrières pour éviter effectivement que le Covid n'affecte le personnel et les employés, des dépenses également pour la création de structures de repli pour ne pas arrêter et rompre l'activité. Donc, les charges opératoires vont continuer à augmenter. Il y a également le fait que les banques tunisiennes ont été amenées à faire des subventions et de soutien à l'État tunisien pour essayer un peu d'apporter des fonds importants, l'équivalent de 100 millions de dinars, 33 millions d'euros, qui ont servi à mettre à niveau les systèmes de santé tunisiens, les cliniques et autres. Donc, des provisions supplémentaires nécessaires, de charges opératoires en augmentation. En conséquence, les bénéfices des banques seraient en diminution en 2020 d'un taux qui serait, d'après mes calculs, entre 25 et 30%. Et la Banque centrale avait décidé et demandé aux banques de ne pas distribuer des dividendes en 2020 pour que tous les bénéfices en 2019 soient utilisés pour consolider les fonds propres et améliorer l'assise des banques. Voilà la situation. Mais je considère personnellement que les banques tunisiennes auront des situations solides et rares les banques qui seraient amenées, suite au stress test, à opérer des augmentations de leurs fonds propres parce que les ratios sont déjà assez élevés et permettront effectivement de s'adapter à la nouvelle conjoncture. Mais les banques tunisiennes pensent maintenant à l'après-Covid. Elles sont en train de tirer des enseignements de cette situation. Et nous avons 3 ou 4 tendances fortes qui vont amener un changement de business model de banques tunisiennes pour effectivement, certes, le Covid, c'est un incident fâcheux et malheureux, mais il y a des enseignements qu'il faut tirer. Le premier enseignement, c'est qu'on se rendait compte qu'il est maintenant nécessaire de revenir au service de base, les bases demandées par les citoyens. Il est nécessaire d'assurer l'alimentation des citoyens. Vous savez que le marché international d'agroalimentaire ne répond pas comme auparavant. On peut avoir de l'argent, mais on peut ne pas pouvoir importer des céréales. Donc, il est indispensable qu'un effort très important des banques soit mis pour le financement de projets de transformation de produits agricoles. Nous avons, la Tunisie a une agriculture assez intéressante, avec de production forte, huile d'olive, comme vous le savez, dattes, n'est-ce pas, fruits et autres. Nous voulons maintenant que les banques s'engagent avec les secteurs privés pour dynamiser l'agriculture et essayer d'appliquer des concepts et des mécanismes innovateurs en relation principalement avec le marché européen. Deuxièmement, également, on est rendu compte que l'État n'a pas le moyen maintenant pour pouvoir assurer convenablement le service de base, assurer la santé et l'éducation de citoyens. Et cela est dû au fait que le déficit, comme je l'avais expliqué, a été assez important, et dû au fait que la part du budget de l'État réservée aux investissements est très faible, il est à peine de 10% du budget de l'État. Donc impérativement, le secteur privé, donc les banques doivent prendre la relève et assurer un développement de l'enseignement privé, un développement de la santé privée, un développement de l'assainissement privé. Nous allons pouvoir le faire avec l'État tunisien dans des accords de partenariat public et privé, et également ça demande une technologie, un savoir-faire particulier pour que ces services auparavant collectifs deviendront marchands et que nous arrivons à les financer convenablement en tenant compte de la nécessité d'agir sur le service privé. Il ne faut pas que le service privé soit assuré uniquement à une classe aisée. Il faudrait que tous les Tunisiens puissent profiter, principalement la classe moyenne, puissent profiter de ces services de santé et d'éducation qui est assuré maintenant par le secteur privé de plus en plus. Troisièmement, on se rendu compte que nous avons maintenant l'obligation, nous banques, de s'engager dans tout ce qui est inclusion financière. Malheureusement, la Covid a montré que le taux de pauvreté a augmenté sensiblement en Tunisie. Il est autour de 16%, a montré que la classe moyenne est en train de baisser. Elle représentait 80% de la population, maintenant elle est à peine 50%. Or, la classe moyenne, c'est un peu le socle de la stabilité de l'économie tunisienne. Donc, il a l'obligation de faire preuve d'ingéniosité, d'offrir des mécanismes novateurs pour que tous les Tunisiens puissent accéder aux services financiers et nous assurons l'inclusion financière, donc l'accès aux comptes bancaires, l'accès au crédit, l'accès à l'épargne pour toute la population. Vous savez qu'en Tunisie, par exemple, 40% de Tunisiens n'ont pas de compte bancaire. 40% sont à la marge de la modernité. Et nous voulons changer cela et nous avons des programmes importants avec le gouvernement pour faire de l'inclusion financière une priorité absolue. Quatrièmement, nous sommes également interpellés par les questions de l'écologie. Vous savez que maintenant, dans les différentes instances internationales, la société civile condamne les banques. Elle dit que les banques ne font pas assez pour lutter contre le réchauffement planétaire, ne font pas assez pour lutter contre l'émission des gaz à effet de serre, ne font pas assez pour réduire l'empreinte carbone. Et en Europe, n'est-ce pas, la Banque européenne d'investissement a décidé de ne plus financer les projets d'énergie fossile. Et les Européens maintenant, dans le société civile, disent qu'il vaut mieux la banquise que des banquiers, parce qu'on dit que l'action des banquiers est telle qui est en train de faire fondre la banquise. Donc en Tunisie, nous avons le même engagement, la même obligation, et les banques sont décidées de s'impliquer à fond dans des projets de transition énergétique, touchant principalement l'efficacité énergétique, touchant le financement de la production d'électricité à partir d'énergie solaire et éolienne, et touchant principalement la revalorisation des déchets pour en faire un carburant plus sain et moins nocif. Cela suppose des capitaux importants, cela suppose un savoir-faire également, parce que les projets d'efficacité énergétique sont des projets complexes sur le plan à la fois technique et également financement, et nous sommes en train de nous organiser pour pouvoir supporter cela et aider le gouvernement tunisien à sortir de la dépendance énergétique qui coûte cher, parce que la moitié du déficit commercial de la Tunisie est dû à l'importation de l'énergie. Le 3/4 de subventions que donne le budget de l'État aux citoyens finance l'énergie. Donc, ce sont des coûts très importants et il faudrait s'en sortir rapidement. Et je termine, si vous permettez, avec la principale, c'est la leçon de la digitalisation. Le Covid a montré que ce sont les pays digitalisés qui ont réussi à réduire les effets de cette catastrophe sur leurs économies. La digitalisation pour les banques tunisiennes est quelque chose de très important. Il faut dire que nous l'avons entamé, mais maintenant nous devrons l'accélérer pour que toutes les opérations soient totalement digitalisées, pour utiliser pour cela le moyen le plus moderne. La technologie maintenant nous permet d'utiliser le portable comme instrument de paiement, le portable comme une agence bancaire, et nous l'avons fait pour distribuer des aides aux couches défavorisées. La distribution est faite grâce à des paiements par portable. Nous avons maintenant des accords avec les fintech pour effectivement introduire l'intelligence artificielle, introduire les big data dans nos solutions informatiques en collaboration avec le système d'information qui gère actuellement les banques. Donc, c'est une option stratégique qui a été retenue et tous ces axes-là que j'avais indiqués sont des axes, comme vous le voyez, novateurs. D'autre part, une autre manière de faire la banque, une autre manière de gérer les risques, une autre manière de servir l'économie tunisienne. Si vous permettez, je termine avec 3 axes qui pourraient effectivement relancer la collaboration entre l'Italie et l'Europe et la Tunisie. Le premier axe, c'est effectivement comment faire pour que les entreprises italiennes viennent s'installer en Tunisie. Je sais que vous avez des expériences très fortes en termes d'agroalimentaire, des expériences très fortes également dans la santé, dans l'éducation privée, des expériences très fortes dans l'efficacité énergétique. Nous serons très heureux, nous, banques tunisiennes, avec la banque italienne également, de faire de croix de transition, de rapprocher les hommes d'affaires tunisiens et les hommes d'affaires italiens pour effectivement faire des projets en commun et les réaliser pour les besoins de l'économie tunisienne et l'économie européenne également. Deuxièmement, le gouvernement italien a donné une ligne de crédit aux banques tunisiennes qui donnait des conditions très concessionnelles, une des meilleures lignes d'ailleurs dont en a profité la Tunisie. Malheureusement, cette ligne a été utilisée presque totalement. Nous demandons, avec votre soutien, d'exercer un lobbying pour que le gouvernement italien renouvelle cette ligne dans les mêmes conditions et nous puissions encore l'utiliser pour renforcer le commerce international entre la Tunisie et l'Italie. Troisièmement, un des problèmes maintenant qu'il faut traiter pour pouvoir utiliser convenablement le moyen financier européen en Tunisie, c'est le risque de change. Vous savez que le dinar tunisien n'est pas convertible. Donc, quand on s'endette, n'est-ce pas, en devise, en plus du coût de la ressource, en plus de la marge de banque, il y a une commission de risque de change qui doit être prélevée. Cette commission, malheureusement, est parfois assez élevée et rend les lignes internationales peu compétitives par rapport au financement domestique. Si nous pouvons ensemble réfléchir à un mécanisme qui pourrait effectivement nous aider à créer un système de couverture contre le risque de change, ça sera effectivement un élément très important pour développer encore les relations financières entre les banques tunisiennes et italiennes. Voilà, monsieur, madame, quelques éléments de réflexion que j'ai à vous communiquer et je vous remercie énormément pour cette réunion très sympathique et très intéressante. Merci beaucoup.
Merci vous, Monsieur El Karm. It's a very, very interesting illustration of the situation of the banking sector, of the economic situation in Tunisia, and well, let me say that most of what you said about the regulatory constraints that banks are facing in Tunisia are very common to the European situation. So we are also in the same on the same page, speaking about the constraints in terms of capital requirements and our also our efforts to make our supervisory authorities aware of the need of releasing, giving some flexibility to the rules that are currently applied to our loans. So thanks a lot for this remarks. And I think let me also add that for all the participants that if you have questions, please use the chat to give me signals about your need of questions, your interest for questions, and then I will give you the floor at the end of the interventions. Now, let me pass the floor to the following speaker, Mr. Habib Ben Hassine, Chairman of the Tunisian Federation of Insurance Companies and CEO of Maghrebia Insurance, in order to listen from him what is the view of the insurance sector on this crisis and the potential and hopefully the overcome of the crisis, because also the insurance sector is very, very much impacted by the situation. Is Mr. Ben Hassine online?
Yes.
Thank you.
Merci pour l'invitation. Merci pour l'invitation et de m'avoir donné l'opportunité d'échanger avec nos amis de la Fédération italienne. Je commencerai donc par rappeler un peu, disons, la situation du secteur des assurances en Tunisie, puisque M. El Karm a déjà parlé du contexte macroéconomique en Tunisie qui est difficile depuis 2011 et puisque le pays n'a pas réalisé de croissance perceptible et en moyenne la croissance en Tunisie s'est limitée à 1,8%. Et elle va décroître bien entendu cette année d'une manière sensible. Pour ce qui est, je saute cette partie du contexte économique, macroéconomique qui a été traité par M. El Karm et je passerai en revue la situation du secteur des assurances en Tunisie. Le secteur des assurances en Tunisie est un secteur qui a su résister à l'instabilité économique et sociale et politique que connaît la Tunisie depuis 2011, puisque, par exemple, durant les 5 dernières années, la progression, donc la croissance moyenne du marché a été de l'ordre de 9,4%, puisqu'il y a une croissance assez intéressante et supérieure à l'inflation. Ce qu'il faut savoir, c'est que aussi le secteur des assurances en Tunisie présente un potentiel de développement important, puisque le taux de pénétration de l'assurance dans l'économie n'est que de 2,2%, contre une moyenne mondiale qui est à 6%, et on voit là la marge de manœuvre que nous avons pour développer cette activité en Tunisie. Donc, c'est un secteur qui n'est pas saturé. Le secteur des assurances est en train de jouer son rôle de financement en matière de financement de l'économie. Et il finance, en 2019, il a mobilisé plus de 6 000 millions d'euros, c'est l'équivalent de 2 000 millions d'euros qui sont investis dans l'économie tunisienne. Également, donc, le marché tunisien en 2020, suite à la situation sanitaire, va connaître une légère décroissance en matière de son chiffre d'affaires, puisque jusqu'à juin, nous avons réalisé une croissance de 4%, un peu plus de 4%, alors que à la même période de l'année dernière, on était à 8%. Donc, c'est un résultat qui est attendu, puisque il
Monsieur Benassine, peut-être que vous avez actionné les microphones, cancellé les microphones. Nous n'entendons plus.
vous m'entendez?
Bien. Oui, oui, maintenant oui.
Vous m'entendez? D'accord.
Oui, oui, maintenant oui.
Je reprends. Le marché tunisien connaît donc à la fin du premier semestre une baisse de la croissance par comparaison à l'année dernière, puisqu'on est à 4% en baisse par rapport à l'année dernière, où on avait réalisé une croissance du chiffre d'affaires du marché de 8%. C'est dû principalement donc, à la baisse des investissements et aussi aux contraintes financières que subissent les ménages et les entreprises. Nous remarquons aussi, donc, suite à cette crise sanitaire, une augmentation du coût des sinistres qui est due d'une part à une augmentation qui continue depuis quelques années du coût de la vie, d'augmentation des charges salariales, et puis dû à la dévaluation qui fait que on achète, les coûts de remplacement sont de plus en plus importants. D'un autre côté également, on remarque une augmentation des créances vis-à-vis des clients qui trouvent des difficultés à continuer à payer leur prime, quoi. Donc, on espère que ça va s'améliorer d'ici l'année prochaine. Également, sur le plan financier, une baisse de nos revenus financiers due en gros à la non-distribution de certaines sociétés, y compris les banques de dividendes cette année, une baisse du taux de marché monétaire et une augmentation de l'imposition des revenus financiers de nos revenus financiers. Comme l'a dit M. El Karm, il y a quand même certains effets positifs qui sont l'accélération de la digitalisation du secteur des assurances. Pour la première fois, on a réalisé un test grandeur nature. On a testé donc les plans de continuité des entreprises d'assurance et en gros, ça a marché puisque pendant la période de confinement, on a continué à servir nos clients. Et depuis également, donc, on recourt de plus en plus au télétravail. On connaît les effets positifs de ce mode de travail sur l'environnement, la société et l'économie. Également, on voit une accélération de la modernisation des systèmes d'information des sociétés d'assurance et c'est une bonne chose en soi. Maintenant, j'aborderai tout ce qui est donc les perspectives du secteur des assurances. Le secteur des assurances, comme j'ai dit, il a un potentiel important et les perspectives sont bonnes. Et après la crise Covid, j'espère que dans les meilleurs délais, on sortira de cette crise et j'espère donc le marché reprendra sûrement les taux de progression qu'on connaissait avant. Toutefois, nous estimons que le secteur, pour que le secteur joue pleinement son rôle dans le développement économique et social, il est primordial que les assureurs et les pouvoirs publics arrêtent une vision stratégique et prennent des mesures pour booster l'activité d'assurance sur le long terme dans le cadre d'un contrat-programme qui équivaut engagement des parties. En quelque sorte, c'est un partenariat public-privé dans lequel nous nous engageons comme secteur durant les 5 prochaines années ou un peu plus à doubler le chiffre d'affaires et à doubler le taux de pénétration de l'assurance en Tunisie. Et cela est possible sous réserve, bien entendu, de prendre certaines mesures telles que des mesures fiscales et sociales pour encourager l'épargne longue et notamment l'assurance vie. Et nous avons cette année une bonne nouvelle, donc, puisque dans le cadre de la loi de finances 2021, Monsieur le ministre des Finances où le ministère des Finances a proposé une augmentation de l'avantage fiscal des contrats d'assurance vie. Le montant passerait de 10 000 dinars à 100 000 dinars. Ceci est une très bonne chose et je pense que ça va impacter positivement donc la mobilisation de l'épargne. Également, nous sommes conscients que nous avons un rôle à jouer dans la reprise de l'économie et nous espérons qu'il y aurait de nouvelles opportunités de placement et nous nous engageons comme assureurs à accompagner le développement des entreprises et des secteurs qui seraient choisis et qui seraient prioritaires. Également sur le plan de la réglementation. Allô?
Oui, oui.
Sur le plan de
Je vous invite à conclure.
Donc, sur le plan de la réglementation, il y a lieu de réviser la réglementation et les règles de solvabilité dans un optique de développement et dans une optique de mettre des barrières au développement. Et également, nous avons un souci sur le marché tunisien, c'est le souci de l'assurance maladie et surtout la RC automobile. Et là, nous travaillons avec le régulateur pour instaurer l'équilibre de cette activité par la libéralisation du tarif RC. Également, il y a lieu de mettre des dispositifs de contrôle des assurances obligatoires et mettre en place un régime d'assurance catastrophe naturelle aussi. Ça va booster un peu le secteur des assurances, associer le secteur des assurances dans la réflexion sur la refonte des régimes de retraite et assurer la complémentarité avec la Caisse nationale d'assurance maladie en mettant un dispositif en place, un dispositif d'échange de données. Cela dit, nous avons un rôle important à jouer dans la reprise économique post-Covid et nous sommes conscients de notre rôle et nous sommes prêts à le faire.
Merci. Je ne sais pas si vous avez conclu.
Pour conclure, je dirais que en matière de partenariat avec la fédération italienne, il y a des pistes comme l'échange d'expertise pour la mise en place des règles de solvabilité basées sur le risque, qui est un projet en cours en Tunisie, la coopération en matière de formation et d'échange entre les centres de formation des deux pays, puisque nous sommes en train de mettre en place un centre de formation d'assurance. C'est la fédération tunisienne qui est en train de le faire. Et peut-être qu'à ce niveau-là, on pourrait échanger nos expériences et nos programmes de formation. Aussi, également, nous sommes en train de travailler sur la mise en place d'une plateforme d'échange intercompagnie en matière de recours de sinistres et on pourrait peut-être échanger à ce niveau-là. Voilà, donc d'une manière générale, c'est les pistes que nous proposons et nous espérons donc avoir l'opportunité d'en parler plus en détail dans d'autres circonstances. Et
merci. Merci, Monsieur Benassine. La peinture que vous avez nous donnée, c'est très clair et pleine. Et je vous remercie pour cette peinture, pour ce discours. Et je voudrais écouter de Monsieur Signorini, qui est le chef de la section internationale de l'Association italienne des assurances. C'est les considérations que M. Benassine a nous données sont ressemblables toutes celles qui concernent le secteur des assurances en Italie.
Oui, alors avant de tout, merci Pierrot. Je voudrais aussi remercier FeBAF pour l'organisation de ces rencontres. J'avais préparé une petite présentation que j'espère de savoir partager avec tout. On va voir. Vous la voyez?
Oui.
Ah. Très bien. Pardon, je l'avais
préparé. Tu la peux mettre en pleine, c'est mieux. En vue pleine.
F5.
Non, c'est ça. Ce n'est pas en pleine, hein?
Pas encore. Pas encore.
Premi F5, Roberto.
Come, ah, F5?
Sì.
Ok. Ça va?
Un petit mieux, oui. Oui.
Non, pas parfait. Bon. Et tout à l'heure, je pense que oui, qu'autrement nous perdons beaucoup de temps. Je l'avais préparé en anglais, so I switched to English. I'm sorry, but so I start the presentation that I start with some economic figures. The pandemic has had a very strong impact on our economy. In the second quarter of the current year, when the effect of the lockdown were most evident, the GDP decreased by 17.7% compared to the second quarter of 2019, minus 12.8% compared to the first quarter of 2020. At the end of 2020, the decline of GDP is estimated around 9-10%, we hope thanks to the rebound recorded in the third quarter. In this context, also the insurance industry has not been immune to the shock. Recent estimates indicate a 7% drop in global life premium income in 2020. The impact on non-life insurance is expected to be lower, minus 3%. The year 2019 had closed with positive result for our country, plus 3.7%. In fact, premium collected had grown both for life insurance, plus 6%, and non-life insurance, plus 3.2%. The outbreak of the pandemic abruptly changed the scenario. The trend in life insurance premium, positive in the first 2 months of the year, turned sharply into negative in March and remained so until July, when the first sign of turnaround was recorded. A similar trend was found in the non-life classes, where premiums started to decrease in March and the contraction continued, although progressively decreasing until June. During lockdown, motor third-party liability premium dropped sharply, minus 20% in April and minus 6% in the first 6 months. Already in March, the impact of the lockdown led to a sudden and drastic change in the trend of the life classes. A positive note is that despite the sharp drop in premium income, the net flow remained positive for the total life. For the non-life sector, the effect of the health emergency have produced significant decreases in premium collected. For other non-life classes, while in the first quarter it was still possible to benefit from the good performance of the January-February period, the decline became fully apparent in March and April, with double-digit reduction in the most important class of business. Yes, traffic blockage has had a strong impact on the number of claims reported to insurance company. If claims frequency in the first quarter of 2020 decreased by 30% in March, alone the decrease was about 60%. It is to be around 90% in April. However, the reduction in claims frequency for the whole year 2020 will depend on the other external factors that are currently difficult to quantify. The resumption of road traffic after lockdown, with a greater use of private rather than public transportation, and the expected increase in fraud and speculation as a result of the crisis, which may also have an impact on the increase in average claims cost. Moreover, the decline in share prices and the increase in the spread on the debt security led to a drastic drop, almost 40%, in the net capital gains. In the first quarter, for the same reason, investment value fell by more than 5%. The average solvency ratio of insurance company than 20 basis points, while remaining well above 200%. The life insurance companies are the ones that have recorded the strongest reduction, almost 30 basis points. Now I would like also to see some long-term effect of the pandemic. In fact, in addition to the short-term impact, the COVID-19 pandemic is expected to cause longer-term effect for the insurance industry. I would like to mention in particular three: low for longer financial scenario and its implication. The low, if not negative, interest rates are now challenging established business models, essentially based on the stable and guaranteed value of insurance savings, and make it necessary to adapt the offer both by remodeling guarantees in terms of new product options. The second effect is growing risk awareness. The pandemic has increased risk awareness and the value of insurance as an important protection tool. Although pandemic risk, due its feature, cannot be insured on an exclusively private basis, its impacts are bound to increase the need for protection against its financial consequences and to encourage a process of innovation in the insurance offer. These developments have important repercussions for a country like Italy, as they can increase awareness of risk exposure and the need for more efficient management. This is very important perspective, considering the wide protection gap that characterizes the Italian situation at present. The third effect is a greater drive towards digital transformations, already mentioned from our Tunisian friend. The experience of lockdown and social distancing rule have highlighted the importance and value of digitalization along all phases of insurance value chain, from production to distribution and claims management. Usage-based insurance products become more attractive due to their being quickly adaptable to changes in conduct and activities. Italian companies have moved quickly along this guideline to effectively respond to the renewed need for protection of families and business. Obviously, the role could be enhanced if the objective of rendering the overall welfare system more efficient were to be pursued. focusing on an organic cooperation between the public and private sector that optimizes available resources to meet rapidly expanding risk and coverage needs. This is certainly one of the lessons to be taken from this pandemic crisis. Reducing the country's vulnerability and strengthening its resilience and stability are essential objectives if growth and cohesion are to be placed on a lasting and sustainable ground. Then some mention of the main area of interest highlighted the pandemic. For us, it's urgent to set up a public-private partnership for natural disaster, a field in which Italy is lagging behind the main European countries. It would be advisable to define a 360-degree catastrophic risk management system, which takes into account the ex-post management of damage caused by events, promote the protection of the territory, limits the effect of climate change. The coronavirus crisis has clearly highlighted the need for an efficient pandemic risk insurance management system. At European level, associations and companies in various countries are studying the feasibility of mixed national public-private scheme that can counter the effect of risk for the benefits of companies and families. The European Supervisory Authority, EIOPA, is also actively working on this issue. At national level, our association has set up a committee of eminent experts with the aim of identifying possibilities and methods with a view to public-private partnership to cover with insurance instruments some effect that possible future pandemics could produce in terms of damage or new services needed to individuals, families, and business. Until now, I have mainly talked about insurance as an essential risk management tool. In a phase like this one we are going through, equally important, of course, is the role of insurance as primary institutional investor. After the peak of a pandemic, the relaunch phase is particularly delicate. Institutional investors in this regard can and must play a central role, helping to direct the resources collected towards supporting the real economy, financing companies' infrastructure projects. Italian insurance company at the end of 2019 held investment of about 950 billion euro, corresponding to 53% of GDP. As primary institutional investor, insurers have followed over the years, also in line with the type of commitment made to policyholder, an asset allocation that has seen investment in fixed income securities prevail, in particular those issued by the Italian government, amounting to 335 billion last year. A policy that, among other things, has contributed to muffle the strong turbulence that occurred during the moments of crisis on the financial markets, particularly in 2011 and 2012. The prolonged scenario of low interest rate, however, is pushing companies towards greater diversification of investment. Corporate bonds and alternative investment on the total portfolio are increasing. So in conclusion, the COVID-19 pandemic caused one of the most severe recessions since the 1930s. The revival phase, therefore, is particularly delicate. The impact on the insurance industry has been severe, with a sharp decline in premium income and a reduction in solvency ratio as a result of extreme volatility of the financial markets. Italian insurance, however, withstood the impact, demonstrating solid fundamentals. It is now ready to contribute to the success of the recovery phase in a profoundly changed context. In addition to the short-term effect, the pandemic has led to more durable changes. These include a long-lasting scenario of low or negative interest rate, a growing awareness of risk and the need for protection, a stronger drive towards digital innovation. In order to strengthen the role of insurance in the economic recovery of the country, a number of measures need to be taken to make public-private partnership more organic in structure. Social security, healthcare, natural disaster, and pandemic risk are the priority area on which to intervene. Insurance are leading institutional investors who already contribute to the stability of the financial market. In order to strengthen their contribution to supporting the real economy, the current regulator framework should be reformed. In particular, I make reference to our prudential legislation, Solvency II. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you, Roberto, for this very comprehensive picture of the Italian sector of insurances and the effects of the pandemic crisis on your sector. And well, I see a lot of similarities with what our Tunisian friends told us about the effects of the crisis on their insurance sector. Now, I would like also giving, following up to what Mr. Hassine said about the next steps of the cooperation of this initiative within FeBAF, I would like to focus on the next two speeches on the point of the, let me say, practical cooperation between the Italian financial sector and the Tunisian one, how our banks and institutions are working in order to increase the level of the present cooperation between the two countries. And to this extent, I would like to give the floor to the representatives of Iccrea BancaImpresa, a bank which is present in your country, in Tunis, and starting with welcome by Massimo Meliconi, who is head of the Complementary and Product Services in the bank, and who is traveling around Italy, I suppose. So his welcome will be pretty short. And then Simone Ambrosin, who is head of the representative office of Iccrea BancaImpresa in Tunis, will take the floor. Please, Massimo, I don't know if you are listening.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, a very warm thanks to FeBAF, to Mr. Del Neri. Due to a totally unexpected problem, I'm just coming back from a COVID test, but I am negative, so I'm really happy. But I cannot participate in my office, so I'm just driving. I want to give you a thank you. I am from Iccrea BancaImpresa. Iccrea BancaImpresa is the corporate bank of the Iccrea Credit Cooperative Banking Group, one of the 5th banking groups in Italy. And we have opened a representative office in Tunis 10 and more years ago. And we are really active. We trust in Tunis with our product especially and particular for small medium enterprises, Italian small medium enterprises who want to invest, who want to export in Tunisia. I pass the speech to my colleague Simone Ambrosin, who is the head of a representative office. We prepare some slides, but I think it's better if he try to go ahead with this presentation. Thank you very much. I'm really sorry, and I cannot continue from my office. and I will hearing you is this interesting, very interesting.
Thank you, Massimo.
Speech.
Thank you.
Thank you very much again.
Thank you, and please, Simone, if you can take the lead of your presentation, please.
Thank you. Okay, do you see the presentation?
Not yet. Not yet. At least me, I don't see the presentation present.
Now?
Yes, now, yes, correct.
Yes, okay. First, I want to thank you for the invitation. I'm very honored to participate as speaker. And okay, as Massimo said before, who is Iccrea BancaImpresa? Iccrea BancaImpresa is the corporate bank of Italian cooperative banking group Iccrea. We are focused on mid-long terms lending and financial services. Our group is the first cooperative banking group in Italy, made by 136 local cooperative banks. And we have more than 750,000 members, more than 4 million of customers, and more than 2,600 branches all over Italy. This is the picture of our group. We are the corporate bank of the group, as I say. Some highlights about Iccrea BancaImpresa. We were founded more than 40 years ago with the name of AgriLeasing. Now we have more than 9 billion of investment and lendings, more than 25,000 customers, 750 million of equity, and 15 branches all over Italy, and 2 representative foreign office in Moscow and the office in Tunis. So I wanted to go on with a focus on our mission. Which is our mission? Our mission is to support the financial needs of Italian companies investing in Tunisia. So our focus are the Italian companies that want to export or want to invest in Tunisia. The business, our business is very large, and our goal are to represent our banking group in Tunisia, and having a relationship with the local institution and the authorities, and with the local banks. We wanted to give assistance to our corporate clients and give advice in investment projects in Tunisia. Further activities are business scouting, business mission, market studies, and analysis. Our office is in Tunis, Bercher du Lac. We are in the same building of Mazar. Okay, this is a view of our activity. And okay, which is our mission in few words. We offer global advisory and financial services to satisfy financial needs of the Italian companies investing in Tunisia. So our clients are, as I said before, Italian companies. No, we can support their needs in three ways. No, as the classic trade finance. So we are partnered for import-export, and we can offer all the guarantees that are needed in trade export. We can support with the finance, so FinImport, bank advance, revolving credit, or discounting of bill exchange. And we are partner of our clients in their process of internationalization. No? In particular, with the partnership that we have with the SACE Simest, that is a company of the CDP group, and is managed by the Italian state. No? And this partnership for us is very important in this context, because permits to the Italian companies to have a resource and have finance to invest or to give to their subsidiary in Tunisia. No? Okay. I wanted to go on and talk about this partnership, okay, for us is very important and useful for the companies. Which is the goal of this partnership, to enhance foreign business of Italian companies. A partnership that started in 2008, and the first type of cooperation is to use the such guarantees on financing granted by our banking group. It's very important, this guarantee, because facilitates the financing of the companies and permits to the company to benefit from profitable condition. And also, such guarantees enable the capital relief for the banks. The second type of cooperation with the such a semester group is in financing the companies in their internationalization process. We can offer subsidized financing for the companies that want to enhance their business in extra web markets. This financing can finance a lot of costs, like capital increase, like participation in international trade fairs, only for the small business enterprise, of course. We can finance the staff training, the feasibility studies, the opening of point of sale, shop, showroom, or corner, and also the temporary export manager and the development of. So companies can use finance in different ways. The interest rate is very, very cheap. We are talking about 0.07%, that is 10% of the interest rate of UA, so very, very cheap. The third time of cooperation is with the semester, and this cooperation permits to the companies to have a participation by semester in their equity, and to take benefit for an interest rate subsidy. The participation is as the goal to set up or an acquisition, a capital increase, or of a foreign business subsidiarity, extra way. Which company could be interested in these opportunities? Companies of all size and sector. The participation of semester is up to the maximum of 49%, and the period of participation is a maximum 8 years, with an option put call starting from the first year. The conditions are market condition, so are the same that you can find in the financial market, and also the companies can take benefit from an interest rate subsidy that is more or less about 0.8%. I think that is very important in this period and in the COVID crisis, this financial support that our bank can offer to the Italian companies that invest or have a subsidy company in Tunisia. Is the intercompany financing. It's very important because in this financial product, the finance goes directly to the subsidiary, and the parent company only issue a guarantee. So the subsidiary company could be independent in finance, no? And the second advantage is that the subsidiary company can pay an interest rate that is in a market condition of the Italian market finance, no? So we know that in some countries, and Tunisia is one of them, the interest rates are very high, no? So with this product, they can pay a very cheap interest rate. So that's a little and quickly view about the financial opportunities of the Italian companies that invest in Tunisia.
Thank you, Simone. A very concrete demonstration of the kind of support that the Italian financial sector can give to Tunisian companies. And now, from a more institutional point of view, I'm very delighted to give the floor to Mrs. De Luca. Mrs. De Luca is head of the economic department at the Italian embassy in Tunis, and I think that she will give us the flavor of the situation in terms of activity in the support that our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in the framework of the cooperation with Tunisia, can put in place, is already putting in place. Thank you, Mrs. De Luca. The floor is yours.
Good morning. Bonjour tout le monde. I will try to switch to English, even if I'm more used to speaking French, because I'm here in Tunis, as you know. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very delighted to be here with you today. And I will try to give you an institutional perspective from my position here in Tunis. When I was asked to speak at this webinar, I started reflecting about the potential topic of my presentation, and I decided to talk about the credit line put in place by the Italian Agency for Cooperation. So I will present you some data which are kindly provided by my colleagues at the agency, and I will try to explain in which way, as Italy, we already put in place cooperation with Tunisia involving the private sector and the banking and financial sector. And I will try to give you even a sort of outlook for the future, especially in this period when we have to face the consequences, the negative consequences of the pandemic of COVID-19. So I will start my presentation. You can see it. Can you see it?
Yes, okay.
Yes.
You can see it?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah, it's okay.
Yes, it's fine. If you can enlarge it, it would be better.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Good. Perfect.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I will start talking about the credit line that we already have in place, that we already put in place with the agency for cooperation. So, as you can see, the line which is already in place started in 2013, and it will end in 2020. So we are in the last 2 months, three or 2 months of the current credit line. As Italy, we were able to put in place this kind of instrument thanks to the involvement of the Tunisian Central Bank, but even thanks to the active involvement of the Tunisian banks, of some Tunisian banks. This line is dedicated to Tunisian small and medium enterprises, and it's of about 73 million euros. So, as you can see from this slide, the current credit line is a story of success. From 2013, we were able to put in place 150 successful operations, and we were able to create 2,300 new jobs. So with the ambassador, we visited a lot of these projects, of these initiatives, a lot of industries around Tunisia, and I can guarantee that this success of the line credit is evident and concrete around the country. So as you can see, we still have some resources on this credit line, and in the attempt, in the aim of facing the negative consequences of the pandemic, we decided as Italy to dedicate part of these resources to some operations, some actions and initiatives in order to face the negative consequences of the pandemic. In this image, you can see that the sectors which are interested by the credit line are different, but as someone of other speakers said before, the agro industry is the main sector which is interested by this credit line, and for the future we are thinking about to focus more on this sector, and at the end of this presentation I will explain in which way we are reflecting to focus on it. So in this graph, you can see that the credit line focus mainly in the region of Tunis, in the Tunis area, but it's also diffused around Tunisia. I just want to give you a point of reflection about that. The successful cooperation between our two countries focus on every sector, on a lot of sectors around Tunisia, and we will try to spread information about this credit line in each region, in each part of this country, in order to have mutual benefits among our two countries, and in order to benefit with these actions every region of Tunisia. For us, it's very important to reaffirm the importance of bilateral cooperation, and we are convinced that this kind of operation can be successful only if we can be more active in some regions which are not the classical regions affected by this kind of operations. So just some data in order to let understand how it's important for us as Italy to continue in this story of credit lines. The current credit line is not the only credit line put in place by Italy and by the Italian Agency for Cooperation. As you can see, the first line credit was inaugurated in 1988. So in 1988, and in all this period, we decided to continue in this initiative because because our main partners, the Tunisian Central Bank, the private bank engaged in this action, and even all the Tunisian small and medium enterprises told us that it's a very important instrument reaffirm the importance of our cooperation. In this page, you can see some of the conditions which are necessary to comply in order to have an access to the current credit line. So, as I said before, the credit line is dedicated to Tunisian small and medium enterprises. You can see the interest rate which is applicable for the operations in dinners, and you can see even some technical details about all the conditions. For more technical questions or for some specific details, the director for the Italian Agency of Cooperation told me that that he and his colleagues are available for receiving a lot of questions and for answer to all of matters that you can have. In this page, you can have a more enlarged focus about the sectors which are interested by the credit line and the sectors which are excluded. So, as you can see from the first part of this page of this slide, there are a lot of sectors which are potentially we can be potentially affected by the credit line. And we have a lot of history of success around Tunisia in all of these sectors. Here you can see some details, some more details about the specific procedure in order to access to the credit, line. And here I just want to reaffirm an important data. For the success of the Italian credit line dedicated to Tunisian small and medium enterprises, it has been very, very important, the engagement of Tunisian central banks and all of the banks which are involved in the credit line. Recently, we had some virtual meetings due to pandemic with the Tunisian banks. And some of the people that I met during these meetings told me that it's very important to pursue in this action and trying to continue in the way towards the credit line. And we are very happy to hear that, and we decided to continue in this direction. So just to answer to the question of more credit lines, as you can see in this page, we hope to have a new credit line which will be mainly focused on the agricultural sector in the next weeks. The agreement was signed last year. The amount dedicated to this credit line will be of 57 million euros. And we are now trying to decide the specific details about conditions and about partners which are eligible for the new credit line. As Italy and as the Embassy of Italy in Tunisia and as the Italian Agency for Cooperation, we are strongly convinced that we have to continue in this direction, because in the recent past we saw a lot of results due to this kind of actions. And now, more than ever after the pandemic, we are convinced that our cooperation remains extremely important. It's important for Tunisia, for its small, medium enterprises, but it's important for Italy because we are so close. We have common roots, common traditions, and so our success, it's the success of Tunisia, and the success of Tunisia is the success of Italy. So I hope in the next weeks to announce you that we are launching the new credit line, and we think that some kind of instruments will be very, very useful in the next phase of recovery. And in the next months, in order to overcome all the negative effects of the pandemics. As you can see, my presentation has been a little bit different from the previous ones because I speak from an institutional framework, so it's naturally different from your interventions maybe. But I think that the active involvement of the financial sector, private sector, banking sector could be very useful even for the institutional actions like the credit lines, put in place by the Italian government. So I think that in some days, some weeks, we will be able to launch this new initiative, and that this new initiative could be very, very useful, especially in this moment, for our bilateral cooperation and for successful engagement of the private and public sector. So thank you. And I'm here.
Thank you, Fabiana. Thank you, Fabiana, for your speech, because for your presentation, because you gave us really the full picture of the important effort that the Italian Cooperation Department is putting on Tunisia, and you all at the embassy in Tunis are investing in terms of resources into this effort. Thank you. And I'll pass the floor to Paolo for closing remarks of this meeting. First, let me thank all you speakers of this into this meeting, and well, I was not able to stop you properly for the time that we were assigned, because your intervention, your speech were so interesting that I didn't allow myself to stop you. Thank you again. Paolo, please.
Thank you, Piero. I fully agree with you. We went beyond the time, but it was worth it, because I think the discussion was rich, and it's a real pleasure to see you, even though only on the screen, to see Monsieur El Karm, to see Monsieur Benassim. And I think you can be proud of the role that you played in bringing to the signature of our bilateral MOU. And I think definitely this meeting shows that we need to confirm and strengthen our commitment to bilateral dialogue, in spite of the difficulties, I would say because of the difficulties. And I want to assure our Tunisian friends that we fully understand the difficulties they are having. We understand we are also having a great difficulty in our economy, in our society, but somehow you don't have the ECB to help, you don't have the recovery plan to help, and also, I mean, your general economic and social situation, unemployment, you mentioned that. So I think definitely we feel particularly close to you and particularly motivated to cooperate with you practically for what we can do. We also need to confirm and strengthen our commitment to continue our respective roles, you in the southern shore of the Mediterranean, us in the northern shore of the Mediterranean, to give strength to this Euro-Mediterranean perspective. I must say, I really appreciate the role of the Tunisian authorities in the leadership role in the dialogue and cooperation processes that are taking place in the southern shore of the Mediterranean, the 5+5 process, the Agadir process, the Libyan political dialogue. I know meeting will be there in a few days, the unlinked, and more broadly, your role in the MENA region, in Africa and the Arab world. I think this is an essential dimension, this Euro-Mediterranean perspective on which you are doing a lot. And as far as we are concerned, on the northern shore, also we are engaged in a battle with our northern EU friends. You see, I think this year is the 25th anniversary of the Barcelona process. Now, you may say, is there anything to celebrate about the Barcelona process? Frankly, I mean, we have not made enough progress, and it shows. And so I think, but I want to give, to conclude this meeting, give a positive signal, because I think there is a new awareness of that in Brussels and also in the northern capitals, an awareness that we need to change. We need to definitely look back critically at the failures of the neighborhood policy, the enlargement, and the Euro-Mediterranean partnership. Need to understand better that, you see, security and migration and even political stability, which are at the heart of the concerns, obviously, of our governments and our public opinion. They are not the independent variable. The independent variable is investment, is infrastructure, is jobs, is trade, is prosperity. And I think without achieving progress on that front, we will not be able to have progress also on the other fronts of security and migration. This is nothing new. This, is, in a nutshell, is the Jean Monnet philosophy. And we own to this philosophy if we are still here as European Union, as Europe. I mean, thanks to this principle that Europe survived. So I think we need to continue on that road. And I think the signals I get from Brussels, the fact that now the external investment plan, the recovery program that was announced by von der Leyen on the State of the Union speech, I think that there are a lot of things underway. Particularly, I think there is in-depth rethinking of the nature of the relationship that should be more equal, more peer level, more bi-directional and not top-down. And it's not simply a question of providing funds. That's important. But you see, I think the game, the political and the economic and the financial game is much wider. It's a process of integration of our financial communities and our economy, and therefore bring to bear our common identity, our common European civilization, things that we share, and we should be aware that we share those things. I need to conclude. I'm sorry I get passionate when I speak of the Euro-Mediterranean dimension and I lose control of the time. But really, I think what there is this excellent book by Silmassi, the former chair, the former Secretary General of the Union for the Mediterranean. It's called L'avenir de l'Europe est au sud. I strongly believe that this is true. I mean, the future of Europe is in the south, and I think we need to convince our northern neighbors and your southern neighbors that this is a reality. And I think what is promising after the conclusion of this meeting, that you can see that there is a growing interest in our community, in our financial community, in our banks, in our insurance companies, in our capital markets, to really to come close to you, to strengthen the relationships, because this will be of mutual benefit and will also contribute to this Euro-Mediterranean project, the Euro-Mediterranean partnership, the Barcelona process. It was a dream. I think we need still to pursue that dream and bring it to concrete accomplishment. So my wish really is that next time we can meet, we can continue, but we meet in person. And so we enjoy also the conversation and the personal contact. And hopefully when we meet next year, we will be in a better, more favorable climate. Thank you to you all. It's really a great pleasure. It was very interesting. And please follow also all our activities on this Euro-Mediterranean dialogue on financial services. We are committed and we have several things in motion. So please stay with us and let's continue to have a fruitful dialogue. Goodbye to everybody and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Just one second to remind you that the next meeting we'll have on 29th of October. The title will be the role of the bank, the promotional bank in the area of the Euro-Mediterranean post-COVID. So you will receive an invitation for that.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.